Hello. I want to talk to you about the machine. And this is a totally different meaning for this word than I've ever thought of it or that you've probably ever heard of it. The machine I'm talking about is the one that comes naturally within us. It's a response to our surroundings and to our selfishness, which is a natural trait. We are automatically created with selfishness. We have to be in order to survive. Now, my last two episodes, two of them ago was one about cancer, and the last one was about the fire in Colorado. I saw something happen that I couldn't put my finger on at first, but as I was going through the fire situation, the organization, the evacuations, the disaster assistance, the attitude of people to come together and help each other. There is such goodness that's apparent. It's the same thing I saw in medicine when I was going through my cancer experience. All of the nurses and doctors and all of the people that were around me were helpful and kind and nice and wanting to encourage me and keep me going. I saw the same thing during the fire. And this is all well and good and fine. It is human nature. But I also saw the machine. It's an underlying current that isn't readily obvious. Not in medicine, not in disasters. But there is a machine at work. And it's not a machine that's a conglomerate of government or the elite people with the big money who are in charge or in control as we have thought of them. This machine is something inherent in all of us if we wind up in a position of any kind of power. We begin orchestrating things somehow, and we do it subtly, not necessarily it's not overt, it's not obvious. Now, what do I mean by that? And what is this machine doing? Well, this machine has gotten enough power so that an individual will say, okay, here I am, and I have some power in this situation. What do I want to do with it? Well, your first thoughts, unfortunately, are not about everyone else. They are about how am I going to create a situation here that is advantageous to me and mine. My goal is to live my life comfortably, to have everything that I want, and then to create a life for the people I care for, where they don't have to worry about their existence or the things that they want and need. So most of the things that I will do are going to be with that in mind. What can I do in this situation to turn this situation to my advantage? If you had enough power and you were behind, let's say, pharmaceuticals, let's say a big industry. Medicine is a big industry. Government is a big industry. Corporations are big industry. And each of them are about something different. But the same human traits are behind it, running it. And in our current society, I have seen this machine come forward. I don't want to say forward. It presents, but it's underlying. It's an underlying current. There is something that is steering the situation for someone's advantage. And if you can figure out what that advantage is, who's getting advantage from this situation? Who's getting advantage here in a way that's not necessarily at all going to benefit the populace that is being affected by this situation? There is someone who is going to find an advantage, and they're going to take advantage of it. And they're not necessarily evil. They're not thinking of something to take advantage in a way that's going to kill a lot of people, harm a lot of people. However, it may be something that is going to turn some little detail to their advantage so that they will make more money, gain more power, create more security for themselves and the people they care about. That might be a very small thing. And so their decision that makes that tiny little change in the whole big picture. That little decision they make to incorporate this function is going to be so big for their advantage that they're going to do it. They're going to install it, and they're going to present it in a way that it looks great for everybody else. But it's not nearly, nothing like the great that it's going to be for them. And in the long run, that detail may even turn to become a disadvantage for the population, for the larger picture, for the larger population that's being affected. I see the machine coming forward much more often, and it's becoming, I don't think it's easier. I think it's always been present because we've always done it all through time. Always. I don't know who said power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts, and there's more to it. And it's not exactly that the purpose of it was to corrupt. The purpose in the beginning of its creation was to cause an advantage for someone or some group. And then it turns bad. The thing about how it affects us is that these people who are able to instill these small things are people with some degree of power. And in order to have gotten that place of power, they usually have become experts. They're the experts, the authorities, figures, the people in charge somewhere along the way that we look up to and we rely on, and we put our lives in their hands in ways that allows them to have that kind of power. And then they instill their little thing, which helps them immensely and helps us a tiny bit, but then turns into something detrimental. This machine that we have a tendency to incorporate is what creates rebellions and people getting angry because they know something's wrong. Something's wrong, but they can't put a finger on it. Something is horribly wrong, and it's creating chaos in their life, and they can't get control of their lives. But the thing is that I've noticed, they can get control. It's that they're looking at the situation, the big picture of the situation, and they're afraid. And so when this great idea comes along, they grasp it. And it may turn bad later, but you grasped it. In the beginning, you thought it was your savior. Throughout all of these situations, these traumatic experiences in life, because as I have said before, they happen all the time. It's the nature of life because we don't organize and create life to be exactly what we think. We can't. We don't have that kind of power. There are unexpected circumstances, and they happen all the time, and somebody is going to take advantage of it somehow, some way. And the majority of the group who is affected by this situation is going to grasp that detail that comes forward and looks like their savior. They're going to grasp it. And then later on, they're going to slowly start to see that it's not their savior. It's actually harmful in some way. And the more that it grows, the more harmful it gets. We do this, especially with authority figures, leaders, the powerful, the rich, the famous, the people who speak up and are listened to. So when we follow our idea, our savior, to its limit, and we find that it's our downfall, then we want to scrap the whole thing and start all over and create something totally new. That's not the problem. The problem is us to begin with. It's being individual. The only way to survive is to be able to withdraw, extricate from the group. Come back. Come back to your own power. Where does it live? Generally, right here inside of you, possibly in your home, in your tiny group that you are responsible for, your loved ones. This is where you are as an individual. And the destruction comes because you have let a bigger picture salvation that was offered for the bigger picture come in and take over. You gave it the power. They did not make you. You gave it to them because you were afraid in your situation, in your trauma. For instance, I knew that in the fire, I knew in my, I say it in my gut, in my intuition, I felt it inside that me and mine were going to be fine. We were going to be fine as long as we didn't panic and get full of fear and grasp onto that, whatever that savior comes along. Now, I had to comply with certain things. I had to go to certain meetings and find out, for instance, how to get back into our home. Okay, go to the big meeting, show your identification, show something that ties you to that address. And this is all created to prevent looters coming in and tearing up our lives and stealing from us. But there's the machine working there. Can you see it? Are you still autonomous? Have you still maintained your own identity apart from the whole? Yes, you want your community to survive a fire. Yes, when you're talking about cancer, you've got a huge community of people going through cancer also. And you want everybody with cancer to be saved and find the cure, and so protocols are created. We all jump on board. They are our saviors, but they're not. And if we pull back to our own autonomy and begin to look at what is happening to the bigger picture, what are all these people? What are the results of them embracing the machine? Are they all helped? Are they all cured from cancer? No. And in the fire situation, embracing the big picture, is everyone put back into a nice, secure life again? Not exactly. No, they're not. So was it their salvation? It wasn't. I'm not against community. I am against making it my savior. It's not, because it's not autonomous. It's not my individuality. That's where my savior is, right here inside of me, living here. And if I'm not listening to it, I'm going to sell it out. I'm going to ignore it for the sake of the good. Now, okay, this can go down the political path, and I'm trying very hard not to do that, because I'm not talking about politics specifically. I'm not talking about medicine specifically. I'm not talking about disaster relief specifically, or how disasters are handled. I'm talking about this machine that's inherent in humanity. Find that great idea inside your situation that you have embraced, and it will turn into your demon. The titles that we have given to evil, like Satan and demons, well, we create them and we embrace them. We create the good ones and we turn them into bad ones, because we erase ourselves. We sell out this. This is where the salvation lies. As long as I stay knowing who I am and what my world encompasses, which is me, my lifestyle, my traditions, my home, my family, the things that I love and do. This is where my focus still needs to come back. How is the bigger picture erasing that? Because that bigger picture will continue to fuel you to embrace the bigger picture more and more and more. Embrace the more. Embrace the community to the point that you dissolve. And at the end of that dissolving, you disappear. And at some point, after you have disappeared far enough, another trauma is going to come along, another situation, and you're going to feel lost. How do I get out of this? How do I do this? Oh, I have to embrace this next big picture, this next big community. I know am I my brother's keeper? To a certain point, yes. To the point that you lose who you are, no. We do not survive when we lose who we are. So if the community in the bigger picture is erasing who you are, it's detrimental to you and your health and your well-being and your survival. And that's my 2 cents. I learned this most recently through losing my husband. I don't know. I don't like the word losing because I still don't believe we stop existing. But he's no longer here physically next to me, where I'm not living that life anymore with him. We are not collaborating on how this life runs, what kinds of traditions and what kinds of things we are going to create. I'm creating by myself now. And learning to do that I had to take a step back from a bigger picture. The bigger picture I had, which was him and me, is now more me. It's mainly me. And I had to find out who me was in order to have a picture at all. I was not a full human being. Just the nature of a relationship. And it's not bad. It's good to be in partnership until you lose this. Don't lose this. This needs to be very strong. It needs to be, the muscles need to be exercised. Make your own decisions, not based on the community, not based on the advice of the authorities or the ideas of those in power, the experts. The expert's not living your life. The authorities are not living your life. Your pastor is not living your life. All of your saviors that you have set up are useful to a certain extent. But the bottom line needs to be, have you become strong enough inwardly that when the time comes, you can say, no, that step is not for me. Gosh, you guys have been so helpful, and I love you. And that doesn't mean I don't want to be part of you anymore, but I need me. I need my life to be intact. I need to be strong enough to be able to make a decision without fear crumbling me. Embracing the bigger picture all the time will crumble you, and you'll stay crumbling, and you will go from one situation to the next, crumbling, and running to the next group to beg them to shore you up and save you. And they're going to let you down at some point. You are still alone. Don't forget who you are. And if you don't know who you are, find out. Do the hard work. Do the hard work. Exercise those muscles. That's why these circumstances come to us, so that we can exercise. Find out who we are, what we believe, not because of what we've been taught. What do you believe in your heart of hearts? What do you know works for you? What gut instinct is always there? Who has been your constant, always by your side? Your God, your Father, your whatever you call it. Never leave you or forsake you, is always there. Know that voice. Listen to that voice. And when it tells you to step away and establish you, then do it. Do it kindly, gently, maybe unobtrusively, maybe without even being noticed. I have found sometimes it works absolutely wonderfully if you sink into the background a little and kind of disappear. They don't notice you anymore. And that's your opportunity to get strong. And that's where the power of fear loses its control. Then you can still listen to those wonderful ideas when they pop up, those wonderful little nuggets that look like salvation, and you're able to look at it more in a way that you can take it apart piece by piece and say, all right, this part of it works for me, but that little piece doesn't. And so I'm going to take this. I'm going to walk away from that. I'm not going to be just part of the group and fit in and grab the whole thing. I'm not going to eat the whole pie. I was created individually and uniquely, and I have unique needs. And those unique needs are not going to be met unless I know what they are, unless I know who I am. A protocol that is established for everyone does not work for everyone. And if I don't know what piece doesn't work for me, I won't be able to walk away from it when it's destroying me. And that's the machine. I wanted to share that with you and see maybe if that resonates. And if it does, I hope you embrace that. Embrace that. Each of us is magnificent. We were created so uniquely, each one of us so uniquely. We are quite the powerhouse, not to bulldoze over others. We were made to be a powerhouse, to be just that, to be. And being is a wholeness. It's you take all the pieces that are you, put them together. Now I know who I am. Not the big picture that everyone is doing, and we all look identical, and we're dying inside because we're not feeding, we're not establishing each part of us. I hope this spoke to you. I hope this makes sense. Thank you so much for being with me and for listening. I hope you'll subscribe and like and give me a comment. I love you all. We'll talk again next week.